Helen here. Welcome to my mousiemakes podcast. I'm coming to you from Durham in the northeast of England, and I'm really happy that you've come to join me today. This is my little place on YouTube where I chat about all sorts of creative things that I do. When I first began, I was just chatting about knitting and crochet really, and it turns out that actually I do a lot more than that. And I decided to share all the various things that I do. And today I'm just going to chat a bit about bullet journaling actually. And then a little bit later on, I'm just going to show you some different bird treats that I made. You might be interested in making if you like feeding the birds in your garden. And just before that though, just before I get onto bullet journaling, I'm really excited to tell you I'm going to do an extra little podcast in the week, hopefully weekly, I don't know, we'll see how it goes, a lot shorter. And the reason I'm doing it is that lots of people have said how much they enjoy listening to the poems that I read in quite a few podcasts. So I thought I would do just a separate little podcast, maybe 5 minutes each week, of some of my favourite poems, and I'll theme them together. And those podcasts are going to be called Gentle Words, because I'm just going to talk gently to you or read the poems really gently. And so look out for that. I think I'm going to upload them on a Thursday or Friday. We'll see how it goes. But I hope you'll enjoy them, and do comment to let me know what you think as well. If you'd like to comment on today's video, that would be lovely. And if you haven't subscribed, then please do subscribe if you think you'd like to come back. So today, bullet journaling. Bullet journaling is such a big topic. I only realised that when I started kind of writing down all of my thoughts about bullet journaling. So I'm definitely going to return to it in another podcast. And today I'm just going to focus on how bullet journaling can help you kind of live mindfully. That's really something that interests me a lot. And so I'm going to chat to you now while I show you some of the pages from various bullet journals that I've done. And just you can listen to my thoughts on bullet journaling for mindful living.
So the most important thing to remember is that bullet journaling isn't any one thing. You can turn your notebook into anything that serves your needs. It's great to gather ideas and inspirations from other people, but I really can't emphasise enough that there's no right way of keeping a bullet journal. I definitely use my bullet journal more as a mindfulness practice than as a productivity tool. And that's mainly because I no longer have to try and find a suitable work-life balance as I once did. I've now got much greater control over how much work I do and when I do it. I still do write to-do lists, but I tend to keep them separate from a bullet journal. And I also have my separate daily diary that I write each night to record day-to-day memories. Most of the times that I sit down to do something in my bullet journal, I lose all track of time, and I nearly always spend more time on it than I intended. As I flick through the pages, I might notice some bubble writing that's calling me to colour it in, or a little corner of a page that needs a little drawing or sticker or a quote. When I close my bullet journal, I'm always surprised at how much time has passed by. I think I find it very easy to do mindful bullet journaling. It really does help me to clear my mind and to be calm, or perhaps to deal with something that's upsetting me. The simple action of colouring something in, and I also include actual colouring books here, can be so calming, especially if you can clear your mind and focus on the gentle rhythmic sound of the coloured pencil on the page, or observe the different shades of the colours or textures. And if my bullet journal offered me no more than this, it would be doing a worthwhile job. But of course, my bullet journal offers me so much more than this. It's like a friend who's always there to listen without judgment to absolutely anything that I might want to say. My bullet journals contain a random collection of things that have needed to be spilled out of my brain. It's a wonderful way of decluttering my mind and helping me to become more focused. It really doesn't matter if a bullet journal ends up looking rather disorganised. Using the index can help with finding things, but because when we do our journaling, we're doing it for ourselves. So even though I'm sharing some of my journal pages with you today, they definitely weren't created with an audience in mind. Every single page is there because they fill a need that I have or have had. When I first started bullet journaling, I tried all sorts of ideas that I saw being used by other people in their bullet journals. Some things worked for me and others didn't. Some things worked for a while until I recognised that I no longer felt the need for them. For example, one of the early ideas that I tried was a mood tracker where at the end of each day I recorded the predominant feelings that I'd had that day, usually by colouring in a square or other shape to match a key of feelings that I'd decided upon. I did this for several months and enjoyed doing it, but when I looked back over a year of mood tracking, I realised that for the vast majority of my time I was having calm, contented days. So this revelation was surprisingly eye-opening to me, and after that I felt I no longer needed to track my moods. And this is a perfect example of how a bullet journal can fulfill a need at a particular moment or phase of your life and can reveal something about you that you hadn't realised. You learn a little more about who you are. One of the things that I tried for quite a while and realised that I wasn't enjoying was a habit tracker. I would create a space for each day and tick off whether I'd done exercise, eaten healthily, and so on. But looking back over a month of habit tracking, I would feel sad to see the gaps or sad faces to show where I had in my mind failed. So instead of motivating me to do better, it just caused me to beat myself up a bit. So I knew that this wasn't a good system for me to continue. On the other hand, when I had a phase of regularly using a Fitbit, this had some really positive outcomes for me. Recording in my bullet journal the number of steps I'd done each day really motivated me to do lots of walking and therefore improving my level of fitness. Using the Fitbit to track my sleep patterns and recording it in my journal presented me with the very clear picture that I was actually getting much more sleep than I'd imagined I was getting. Again, once I realised this, it no longer became necessary for me to record my sleep patterns. Now, when I feel I've not had that much sleep, I can tell myself that I've most likely had a great deal more sleep than I imagine. However, I do like using my bullet journal as a way of encouraging me to improve or change certain habits. Towards the end of 2019, I was feeling disappointed in myself for not getting outside very often. Rather than set up a daily tracker, which had previously not worked, as I explained, I decided only to record the days that I did go out, and I told myself that even 10 minutes would be better than nothing. This worked really well, and I soon formed the habit of going out almost every day for 40 minutes or so. I try not to beat myself up if I have a less active week, and I don't write anything negative in my bullet journal about this. And this really aligns with my philosophy of praising what's good and not giving any time to negativity. One of the best ways that my bullet journal helps me to live mindfully is that it's a place where I can write down inspirational, motivational or thought-provoking quotes. If something is upsetting me, the first thing I turn to is a wise saying that is pertinent to whatever I'm upset about. The process of writing the words into my bullet journal has an instantly beneficial effect. It's important to me that I take my time writing it down, making it look neat and even beautiful. And while I do this, it gives me time to really digest what the wise words are saying to me, and it can be the first step in tackling whatever the upset was about. Another of the ways that my bullet journal has been helping me to live more mindfully is by recording my observations of the natural world, birds and flowers and weather and so on. This has largely come as a result of being more home-based in the past year of living through the pandemic. Instead of constantly visiting all sorts of different places, I've mostly remained on my home patch, repeating the same few walks many, many times. Doing this has made me much more aware of the little day-to-day changes in my surroundings and the gradually changing seasons. I've allowed myself to go as slowly as I like and stop as many times as I want to look at things or just simply soak up being in a particular place. Pausing to look at these pages in my bullet journal immediately gives me a connection to the natural world and the rhythms of nature without even having to go out. So these journal records continue to benefit me long after I first write them down. My bullet journal is a great place for boosting my self-esteem because I keep records of how I've spent my time, whether it's reading or making, creating, participating in something or learning something new. This kind of record keeping contributes to mindful living by encouraging me to learn more about myself, to remind myself that there are many things that I love doing and that there is much to be proud of and to make me happy. I loved the year that I kept a jar on the kitchen windowsill with a pile of little pieces of paper beside it, and the invitation for members of my household to write on one of the pieces of paper any time something happened to make them feel happy, and to pop it in the jar. And at the end of the year, we took all of the pieces of paper out and looked at them all, and I stuck them all into the back of my journal that year, and it was really great to read so many joyful things. So for a final comment on mindful bullet journaling today, I think that letting your creative juices flow, ones that may well be hidden by years of self-doubt or a lack of confidence or self-belief, is a fantastic way of focusing on the present moment, not worrying about where the creative activity may end up, but just being absolutely in the very moment that you are perhaps sifting through some collage materials or selecting colours or slowly cutting things to shape. And the next time I do a podcast about bullet journaling, I'm going to focus on this topic of releasing our creativity and also on the dreaded issue of perfection.
So I hope you found some of those thoughts of mine interesting or thought-provoking. And perhaps you could share some of your thoughts on bullet journaling if you already do that. And if not, then I really encourage you to give it a go. Don't need anything posh to start off with, just a plain notebook and give it a go. And just lose yourself in whatever you're doing. So, just a quick apology that, I'm not apologising, it's a beautiful sunny day today, so it's nice and light. But for some reason my camera finds it difficult to adapt to the light levels. I'm sure there are probably things I can do about it, but just apologies for that. Anyway, just to finish off with today, I'm going to show you how I made some new bird feeders for the garden. And I can tell you, despite the fact that I have no video of birds feeding on them, because the birds always knew when I had my camera there, I think, that they did actually really enjoy them. So here we are, the bird feeders. maybe you'd like to have a go at making those different kind of bird feeders. Just as an added note to that, after I put the bird feeders out on the trees, we had a few days of fairly continuous rain, and I was really pleasantly surprised to see that the cardboard tubes didn't fall apart or disintegrate in any way. The birds were able to eat the seed and the peanut butter off the cardboard rolls without any problem, and so yeah, useful to know. So I think I'm going to leave it there for today. It's been lovely having you here with me, and I do look forward to you coming back again next week. And maybe in between times you would like to have a listen to my new Gentle Words podcast as well. So until then, stay safe and keep busy, and I will see you again soon. Okay then, bye.